Okay, so I'm doing the text again. Okay, we're in Parshas Noach and Mammon and Beis. We'll start here, and I am hoping that people remember that which we explained, so I won't have to elaborate there. Again, from the Pasuk Vayikol Haaretz Safar Echad Dvarim Achadim, we explained that meant one language, one agenda. We brought Rashi, Medrash, etc. Okay, Medrash Rabbah, Tanchum Kat, Shema Shlomo. This is what Shlomo said in Mishlei. If you pound the pulverize actually the devious one bal avla in a mortar b'toch harifot ba'alit with the pestle lo tasuma even avelto, his deviousness, his avla won't leave him. I mean, you can hit him around once, twice, and thrice, it won't help. Kachamdu derosha enosh. Thus, we see that the generation of Enosh, which you described, but that was already Karush Moshe Kadosh Baruch Hu Avodah Zarah. They called pagan deities basically the name of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. I mean, they sanctified basically those deities, and we explained how that worked. I remember explaining that, right? I explained that in the Rambam. Shneimar, the pasuk says, "Azu chal likro b'shem Hashem," which Rashi they explained they would call Shem Hashem to dvarim who chulin, who chal miloshen chulin. It became they gave meaning, or religious meaning, theological meaning, to things which are really not worthy to be called that way. And the Rambam explained it in Perek Aleph of Avodah Zarah. We know that. It's what Kadosh Baruch Hu do. He tzif shlisho shel olam. He flooded a third of the inhabited world. Shneimar, the pasuk says, God calls to the waters of the sea, of the ocean, and he pours them on the face of the earth. In other words, he changes the natural course of nature, which at the moment, as the pasuk says in Yirmiyah, the God says, I am here, for I make sure the water does not flood over the seaboard. That's the pasuk in Yirmiyah and Perek Beis. And here he did not. That way he actually took the water and poured it on the earth. Why? Hashem Shema, because he wants to know that my name is Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, and you can't attribute that name to anything else. So basically we learned that the way of God making sure that he's introduced into this world and people don't call other things by his name, is flooding, for whatever it is. Playing with the laws of science, making sure that you take for granted is not happening. That Yamli Abosha, that the pasuk says, how could you not be in awe of me, for I make kites and chayrif, some gvul to the yam. That whole equilibrium of nature, that is the ultimate testimony of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. So finally it says, this is what we did learn. He points out the Medrash that the issue of Dor Mabul was not the taiva, but the taiva was all based on a theological reality, as opposed to the Jews in the Midbar. The Gemara says, "La'ovdi Yisrael Avodah Zarah El Lahatul Emarayis." It's verkehrt. They wanted dafka Avodah Zarah. They wanted dafka that God should go away, and in light of that, they were over Avodah Zarah. So we're going to have to explain what that means and how. But Lolam Dumadar Shel Enosh here. We know they did not learn from Dor of Enosh. Now Enosh, we have no Dor of Enosh. Definitely was not a Dor of Taivus. The Dor of Taivus that we have is that generation 120 years before the Mabul. That's when we have the Bnei Elohim, Roim is Bnosa Adam, and they say Tovo Seino. We discussed that on Saturday night. They objectified the females, and therefore naturally, afilu bulas baal, afilu zocher, afilu behema, as we point out Rashi. So there, it was actually a major slip from Avodah Zarah into taiva. Let's understand how far that went. He's going to explain this. There he totally obliterated them. He totally destroyed them. It wasn't shlisha shel olam, it was kol ha'olam. Once again with the Mabul. Then finally, Avdor Palaga, the door of the dispersion of Plukta. Lolam Dumadirot Rishonim, they also, once again, Medrash is pointing out, they did not learn from the previous generations, because they also had the same urge for Avodah Zarah, calling out, but they expressed it in a different form. We'll see this all later. This is what the pasuk says, He kol haaretz safar echad dvarim achadim, that this was their agenda. Their agenda was, if we look at the agenda carefully, Amru lakel sur mimenu. And as we explained in Rambam, the idea is they were not really interested in having a direct relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. I explained in last time we learned, because Yud-Kei Vav-Kei they lived in a very acute religious experience. It wasn't like faith; it was knowledge. I mean, yeah, it wasn't that long ago that Adam walked the face of the earth. He died not that long ago, and Adam and Cain, they're around, and Shais. How far is it? People lived for so many years, and so the idea that God created God is there is clearly there. They're definitely living. They're sinning within a very religious context. One has to understand that. So Yud-Kei Vav-Kei is something that you could. They're not holding there, but it's enough to be very overwhelming. I can tell you the name Yud-Kei Vav-Kei tomorrow won't mean a thing to you. But for them, it's real. So that awareness is terribly overwhelming, terribly, actually frightening. Very, very frightening. It reminds me of what I just taught before in Nevuchim in the Adam Rishon and Chava, hiding under a bush because they encountered again Yud-Kei Vav-Kei Elokim, and they weren't holding there, but they knew what it meant. This is basically it. It was overwhelming. Religious awareness was overwhelming, and they didn't have the great comfort that we have of just not really, believe in it. That's about it. They didn't have that. They were not in the world of belief yet. They were still in the world of knowledge, which was quite painful. So they ran. So now he starts explaining. This is where we didn't. This is the beginning of this week. Beginning of rebellion, Berashit Pirud, and the beginning of separating from truth, from God. This is where it started, where man didn't want to have a direct relation with God. He was going to rebel. He was going to turn his back on, liparade, to remove. Then he started calling things which are chulin by the name of Vayebaruch Hu. Lefi. Why did they do this? What forced them? Why would they want to do this after just the third generation of creation? Why? So he says, I see it in a simple way. Their agenda was lahastir, to hide, and it was to hide from awareness. Or achshich in this discipline is the opposite of or is an idea of enlightenment. Lachshich is to make it the opposite of enlightenment, to make it dim, to throw it into your subconscious. That's what it means. Lachshich hofa'at or Hashem avayid barach ba'olam hazeh. They wanted to be things the way they are today. They wanted to diminish God awareness. The idea of the vividness of God, Creator, they wanted to diminish that because why? It's very simple, as I explained. Yeah, it's too heavy. It doesn't allow you to comfortably live your life. The only reason we comfortably can live our lives and call ourselves Orthodox, we simply don't think about him, so he doesn't exist. Because he's not really vivid in our eyes. It's not true. The most we have faith, okay? I pointed out, it's like we have a halo above our heads, but our faces are not shining. It's not the aura coming into the mind, head, and therefore changing, transforming who I am. It's more an or choifif olav. It's more like a halo above the head, which we connect to, but it's not vivid. It's not real. It's not internalized, and therefore you can do whatever you want, and that's what people do. The source of sin is because there's less, as the Rambam says. Chatoim come from leva ponuim min hachachma. All chatoim come from a lack of yediyah selukim. Yediyah, I don't mean cerebral knowledge. Knowledge is to become not just cerebral knowledge, but emotional awareness, and until it becomes a vivid and real reality. For you, for example, I'm sure that if you hear a gunshot, you duck. Didn't see the bullet, but you know that means danger. You duck. But when you see when you have a tzad chash and kashrus, and you're hungry and it looks good, somehow you don't duck. Okay? Or go on. The hechsher of whatever, it's enough, right? Hello? You know what I mean? Why aren't you ducking? Because it's not the same thing. That's the idea. This is emunah. That's why. That's why you can sleep well at night when you have a taisa which makes no sense. If your life would depend on it, believe me, you wouldn't sleep. Okay, that's the way it is. This nonchalantness in religion all comes from because it's emunah and not idea, and that's what he says. Hayam agvatam lahastir ul hachshich, hofa'at or Hashem havai baruch hu b'olam hazeh. They didn't mind Elokim, but hofa'at, the coming on stage of Havaya, Yud Kei Vav Kei, that great name which was Yud Kei Vav Kei Elokim, which afterwards got cut, as we discussed at length. Hello, they didn't want even the residue, too much. So he says, Kidei, why? Kidesh lo titbatel habriya migodol or Shem Havaya Baruch Hu. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean is like the Shem Havaya is like a sun that comes in, and as soon as it shows up, everything burns to a crisp? What is this, like a radioactive God name? What does this mean? When again, you have to learn the language. When we say Olam, we don't mean a globe or a planet. We mean a sense of existence. For the world you live in is the world that you experience through your five senses and whatever brain you have or use. Probably more through the five senses than through the rest of it. Okay, that's how you experience the world. If hypothetically you had another sense, you'd experience it differently. Dogs hear very high-pitched sounds. You ever have a dog whistle? Did you ever have a dog? So dog whistles, you can't even hear the sound, but the dogs go crazy. You know, bees go nuts because they experience ultraviolet light. You don't see it. They do. They get very dizzy, and then you don't want to be around. Then they get nervous, okay? They have a different experience of life. They have another sense. They have other senses and different experiences, so they see things differently. What you take as quiet, they take as noisy. What you take as passive, they think it's a kaleidoscope. They go crazy. And so on and so forth. I mean, if you ever see the Indian ladies with the dot over here, you know what that is? That's the third eye. Okay? I mean, it's what you call the eye of the inner consciousness. Okay? When you're enlightened, you attain the third eye. You see things differently. This is probably reflected also in the Gemara in Psachim, when the Gemara says that time will come when you will look at all the bloody, terrible human history and you'll see all of it, was all a toiva ametiv. Not because, I believe it's for the best. You know, that lip service you can send someone else. This is for the frail-minded. No. I know it's going to be good. You know why it's going to be good? Because the Gemara says it's going to be good. The Gemara says in the pasuk that it's going to be good. The Gemara says, when's that going to happen? When we understand Shem Havaya. The Gemara, the end of the third parak of Psachim, so the Gemara, Oto Yidna Lav Echadu. He has, so the Gemara says, no, now he has different names. He's named Yud Kei Vav Kei, but we don't enunciate it. We don't pronounce it. We call it Aleph Daled Nun Yud. So it's not Shmoy Echad. Now it's two Shemos. It's the same Yud Kei Vav Kei. You don't pronounce it. Why don't you pronounce it? Because you don't understand it. And God doesn't want you calling him by names that you don't understand in any fashion, form, or size. He doesn't like lying. He doesn't like faking. He doesn't like, don't call me by a name you don't understand. Don't describe me by something you're clueless about. And the same thing says it's also Hashem Echad U'Shma Echad. So just like now there's two names and there will be one day. B'Yomahu there'll be Shma Echad. Today now also we somehow look at the God as like a two-headed hydra. You know, like a two-headed, like a black hat, white hat God. Good God, bad God. Almost like the Persians that had they have these different gods. Because we have the God of Toiva Meitiv, that's the God's good, that little girl in SAR. And then there's the God which is the jerk. We call him Dynamis. We can't say you're good. I would never say you're good. I'm going to say you're just. One is the God of Emes, and Emes could be everything in the world, which he is Emes, according to the Seder on Haga, whatever it is. It's the right thing. It fits his plan. Nothing happens in this world which doesn't fit God's plan. Dayan ha'emes. You're not saying it's good. You're saying it's bad. Adrab, as the Bach writes in your day, in Hilchos Avelis, that what does it mean? Kishem shem v'ochem al tov kach v'ochem al hara. It doesn't mean to say that It's first in Tur. By Tova Meitiv, you say it B'simcha. Mashenkim B'daina Emes, Lashon Tur, you say it B'leiv Shalom. If you don't understand the difference, try learning Hebrew. Very big difference between Leiv Shalom and Simcha, for goodness sakes. So all these Rebbe stories of the person couldn't say Dayan Emes was happy as if she was born. And this is like Lashon Hara on people that were great. And Shtiyot. This is Leiv Shalom and this is B'simcha. They're two different issues. Bach explains what's the greatness, because you know what you feel good? If you're capable of saying Dayan Emes, really, even when it's terrible, you shtayit. It's a tremendous sense of a Kabbalah's oil of Emes, of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. You should be very happy that you attained that, if you really meant it. It's easy to say Dayan Emes when things are nice. To say Dayan Emes when it really is terrible. Okay, what are you saying? You're saying as opposed to Avram Avinu, which had tightness, it's them Shofet, Koretz, Lo Yasa Mishpat, you're saying Akol B'Mishpat. Pretty nice, you know, Kol Kavod, that's a shteig. It's a very big shteig, especially when it hits home. So it's next to you, it's your family, it's your brother, cousin, uncle, grandfather, parent, whatever it is. Not push it. Here they just had a family that was killed, 2 parents, 8 children, I think it was, in a car accident in Yam HaMelech in Bikat HaYarden. The heat was so big, so the buckles of the belt were melted. They couldn't even get out of the car. So now say Dayan Emes. Say it, mean it. That's a tremendous. To be able to say Dayan Emes and mean it, that's a very special thing. That's what the Bach says. That's pshat. It's a simcha by Oivdei Hashem to be able to say Dayan Emes. But no one dreamed that you should be able to say Tova Meitiv. I mean, no one's telling you to be not normal. No one's telling you, oh, it will be good. You're going to be dead by the time it will be good. So how do you know if it will be good for you? It will be good for who? For God. Who said it's good for it? God doesn't like it when people are punished. I quoted the Gemara Motzei Shabbos. Lo yitov lo l'HaKadosh Baruch Hu bo avdonim shel rishoyim, kol shkim with 100 kavachomers, little children. It's not even good for God. He reacts, doesn't feel good about it, but it's a necessary thing that has to be done for the agenda of creation. It's Dayan Emes and not Tova Meitiv. Very simple. Can you imagine the Asid Loved, we're going to get another eye, like the Indian ladies? You know, and we're going to look at it all and say, wow, you see that mound of shoes in Auschwitz? Mamish Tova Meitiv. Anybody would tell that to me, I would probably think he's totally deranged. Because it's not shaykh. It's not even shaykh to say it with perspective of reality that I live in. But, I don't know, with another eye in the middle, I don't know what I'll see. So this isn't like you know, from the Lord Ram, from the stories of Buddha. This is actually Talmud Bavli. Okay, I trust him. Chachmei HaMasorah, you know, Pirkei Avos. So, you know, Talmud Bavli says, yes, there's going to come a time in history where all people alive or woken up, resurrected, whoever will be, I don't know. Okay, they'll have a middle eye. They'll actually see things totally different. So can you imagine? So I'm trying to say how far. For me, Adam Arishon is almost like he had this middle eye. And then, you know what I mean? And then he fell and just got my eyes. But the difference is that he still mamish remembers the middle eye. Okay? And you imagine that memory and that awareness that there is, that perspective is there. And that's why Shem Havaya is very hard to, it's very overwhelming. Very overwhelming, because that drives you crazy. I'm not holding there and I'm hearing these things. It's like once you were a maestro and they're piping classical music into your ears, and by now you're just into the blues. I mean, it's a headache, do you understand? So this is what he says. Your world is going to destroy. Don't you know, my world is a world where God is at the best dynamics. Every so often, a Tova Meitiv. That new world, that world will be decimated. There'll be a new world out there. You know, Dvořák's New World will be the anthem of the new. Literally, there's actually a great it's called the New World. Okay, new world. We're gonna get a new lie. It's gonna be a world of Tova Meitiv. It's frightening to think about it. The world of Haifoas, Yudke Vavke, is going to be a world of a Toiv HaMeit. Kuloi HaToiv HaMeit. That's the Shon Achshal HaToiv Mevorach, Dein Toiv HaMeit Valaro, Mevorach Dein Emes, La'asad Love Kuloi HaToiv HaMeit. It's frightening, okay? Yeah, we're going to get him in the lie. They didn't want that. Because they actually enjoyed the fact that there's no clear vividness of religion, giving it only into more of a subconscious reality, to think about God, allows you to be free. Like us, we're free. We definitely are free to sin and feel religious. Yeah, we do this therapeutic heart massage every so often, whatever it is. Yeah, but at the end of the day, we're Orthodox. Okay? I'm talking about the yeshiva shema machlis. I'm not talking chalila of kashrus or tires of mishpacha. Yeah, but there's from averus. Okay, we know what they are. Okay, but you guys, I once said that I was in a certain gathering of friends that said that's pity. Chafetz Chaim wrote his book on Orach Chaim, so everyone's very firm on Orach Chaim. Wow, can you imagine if he would have written Mishnah Berurah Choshen Mishpat? So from people would be honest. It'd be unbelievable. It'd be a whole different society. Mamish, they stole in Pula Socher and Einoah and Ribbis. Can you imagine a Mishnah if Chafetz Chaim would have written that on Choshen Mishpat? It would have been unbelievable. But he wrote it on Orach Chaim. So he did well, Baruch Hashem, it was Mitzliach. In Orach Chaim, people, with your Shemaim, try their best to fulfill Orach Chaim well. But we see he didn't write a Choshen Mishpat. I have a cousin which used to run the moistus of a certain very big Hasidus in Borough Park. So he started telling me how he does it. I was hearing horror stories. I says, Moshe, ich verstehe nicht. This is Gezel. Lam machab di Litvak. You know what I mean? Let go Litvak until you understand. He says, Moshe says, trust the Gezel. That's gut nicht, what I mean? You don't understand anything, Yeah, I understand. I wasn't born in Lemberg. What can I do? But this is unbelievable. The same thing. So he lives in a different world. You live in a different world. Every person lives in another world. They didn't want their world to be destroyed. Okay, is that clear? That's what it says. Kidei shelo tizbat labriya. That means the world that they were living in through their five senses. Migadol or Shem Havaya Baruch Hu. Because if there'd be, if you shine the light of intelligence to a world of pleasure, you're destroying the party, man. We mentioned that also during Mer Nevuchim. There are many things which exist only in the shady shadows of closed eyes and imagination. All of a sudden you shine the light of science into everything. Wow, there's no more fun, man. The game's over. For those type of people that would show fun, it becomes boring. So he says, Kimai. It'll go back to its original source. What does that mean? It'll go back to being a reflection of the Sibus Oilimus. Well, I can explain this if you want a little bit. Not much. This is the side of Shviras HaKelim. What is this? The Ari writes that in order to create a sense of existence, what you call alternative sense of existence, God created certain levels of consciousness. Leave it at that. Levels of consciousness, but then he infused X amount of enlightenment in it. I'm trying to use metaphoric language, and the vessels couldn't handle it. The language couldn't handle it. Okay, let's just say there were. I'm giving. I'll use a metaphor. There were like vessels, which were supposed to hold. Vessels which were supposed to be vehicles of Yedias Hashem and Kvod Shamayim. But then there was not a proportional relationship between the amount of Or Hashem which was infused in those vessels, and it just fell apart. What is that? An example? I'll give you an example. Your nervous system has a tremendous system of almost like a fuse box. When the information is too overwhelming, you faint. or you scream, break dishes, cover your head with a pillow, put the radio on loud. You do something to flood out the information because it's going to bust your fuses. The people that die from too much information. Okay? So the idea is, now interestingly enough, God created realities of vehicles of Kvod Shemayim, but then they could not hold the amount of oil that was holding, so they metaphorically split. So what you have within the program of creation, kalim for Kvod Shemayim, there's no way you can see the Kvod Shemayim in them. I'll give you an example. This will be an example. Try this one. You see a word. Now, a word is a bunch of letters. That's all it is. Now, in the words, letters in a certain sequence are vehicles of information. And actually, it's not just the word. If you know carefully, you understand, every letter has a sound, and a certain sequence between the sounds creates a vehicle of information. More so, if you take an equation on a board in a chemistry or a physics class or an algebra class, any class, okay? When you see the total sequence, so now each letter symbolizes a certain reality. There's a chachma there, okay? But when you put all of them together, it's a kli for a much bigger chachma. So every ois is a mashal for a chachma. I'm trying to explain things to anybody who do math. Okay, every siman is a siman of chachma. I say CH2. Okay, so C means something, H means something, 2 means something. The sequence creates a whole new reality. Okay, so each letter means something. Like A, well, it's actually a TP. Okay, B looks like a bunch of glasses. Okay, C looks like Pac-Man. I don't know, whatever it is, I'm just giving you an idea. So every letter historically has a certain chachma, which is a certain phonetic sound, and a certain visual reality. You put them together, it's a kli for a bigger chachma. CAT, it becomes a cat. Okay, if I'm trying to say. So what actually happened here is, if you're going to look at kalim like aleph, like oisios, okay, I'm trying to give an example of what this is. Can you imagine you had a whole seder of oisios, and it expressed a tremendous chachma, but the chachma was too much, it was too much for the kalim, so the letters dispersed. Now, if you can put those letters together, you're really going to have very big chachma. But at the moment, the letters can't be kalim for the chachma because the letters dispersed, and you need a sequence. So go find the sequence between the letters in order to put them together. So what you have now is elukus, you have godly kalim, okay, which have shivrei, or remnants of intelligence there, but there's no way you can redeem it. There's no way you can put it together. That's called, I've created an alternative reality of what we call, everything is Dvar Hashem, but there's Dvar Hashem that you can redeem, that you can read the letters. Basar, yeah, I can read those letters, okay, it's meat, and I can translate those letters into Kvod Shemayim by eating it, etc., and having energy for Torah and mitzvahs and Ma'asim Tovim. But there's certain realities there which there's no way you can redeem it. The letters, or whatever it is, I'm using letters as a metaphor, in order to redeem the Kvod Shemayim, or to see, or activate Kvod Shemayim, in a davar osur, you don't have the capability. Those are dispersed letters that you will not be able to make into a vehicle of Kvod Shemayim, thus you can't redeem it. Therefore, that's why you can't eat it. That's why you can't drink it. Because those are dispersed letters that you can't make them into a kli. This is called Shbiras HaKelim. This I just gave you a layman's 3-minute whatever it was, okay? Sniff it, what can I tell you? So this is the idea when God there rewrites that this that we nirmas in the last pasuk Parshas Vayishlach. Don't ask me how. It's a long drush, okay? It's crazy, you know. It's really mind-boggling. But that's the way it is. So basically, Shbiras HaKelim means to say, yeah, there's oisius there, but the oisius parchos. There's no sequence, there's no kli, there's no key of putting the oisius together to be able to see the chachma which they can entail. There is. That's what happened over here. Like God dispersed it was a Scrabble game, and he and he threw away the things. You know, go find it now. So at least with the regular thing, you can figure out words. Here, you won't be able to. Okay, so you have things. And this mush is actually true also. In Dvarim Ksherim, not a mitzvah, so the letters are dispersed, but you can put them together. Okay, so you can create a kli for covered shemayim. This is, we don't have the key. We don't have the key, so that's why it's called osher. It's tied up. What does tied up mean? It means the covered shemayim is tied up. You won't be able to get in there. Mutter means it's open. Matir asurim. It's open. It's available. Not mitzvah mutter. You can actually put the letters together to make a kli of covered shemayim. Okay, so there you have the ideas of osher and mutter. So this is what he says. Just as the world, so to speak, in order for evil to come into being, Kadosh Baruch Hu had to be meir oyer into kalim, and therefore the kalim, too much information, so the ois is dispersed, and a certain sense of reality ceases to exist. It's a metaphor for me too. I don't want to know this truth, because this truth will destroy my comfort zone. This truth will change my life, change my world. I'm very happy to be feeling calm. It's like the feeling of a typical kid, a senior, when he finally goes into college, into a real college. You know, if you moved from a college, or you went into, let's say, Oxford. I don't know if you realize what it is. The Etonians, the Eton little boys that come into Oxford, the first year boys, they're called fags. You know what that means? They literally are, these were the choshivs, they become Eved Nirtza. They shine the shoes of the, this is the Mamash they cover in the yeshiva. They shine the shoes of the guy. They're Mishorsim Mamish. You know, the word afterwards was developed into a more of a Brooklynese vernacular, but that's where it starts from. These are the freshies into Oxford. Anybody English here? So, oh, you wouldn't know that, would you? Oh, look it up, so you'll find out. You see, this is I have a big baltaiva to pick up information. So when I was in Eton, I hopped a guy for a schmooze for half an hour, and he told me the whole thing. Okay, now, why to go to Eton? I have to go to Eton. Darf sein in Eton. Okay. It's near Windsor Castle. So, okay. Yeah, so I'm trying to say, yeah, so the Chatchila, you know, when you're in high school, you're God's gift to humanity. Your nose is mamish up there, you feel, oh, yeah, these little freshies, yes, gunch. I know, because I could say over the Reb Chaim al Lishma, you know, or something like that, okay? You feel very accomplished. Okay, then you come to a real school and suddenly realize you're an incompetent idiot. You don't even begin to know how to read or think. So your ego is like in the pits. Okay, so you can either say, yeah, but I'm going to learn how to think, because you really have enough self-esteem to say, okay, I realize I wasted nothing. I'm going to reverse that. Or actually it wasn't a waste of time, because it gave me a sense of, now I know what I missed. Very important. Also important in order to go further. Or there's another possibility. Turn your back on that and go find yourself a yeshiva or whatever it is that they'll continue your high school experience and tell you another Reb Chaim and a Reb This and Reb Jens and regurgitate through pre-processed information, and you'll look like a camel. You'll have a bunch of humps. Okay, but that possibility too. So there's two possibilities there. Do you want to preserve the world, or do you want to, or you don't want to preserve the world because you realize you're going to break the world because there's a bigger world happening out there. It's called Soisa Amnas Livnois. It's called being in Shabbos. Okay? Being in Shabbos, I've learned a long time ago, forget the truthsum, the ikers, the kasha. If you ask the right questions, the truth will come 5 years later. Who cares about the truth? First, I ask the questions, like see the problem, enjoy the darkness. You will never get to light until you mamish suffer from the black darkness. Unless you're dying from a kasha, you'll never do what it takes to get an answer. These reprocessed. Off the rack, like pour some hot water into some noodles, you have automatic soup. Did you ever taste that stuff? Like I wouldn't give it to my dog when I had one. Okay, I had one till the age of 2. Okay, 2.5. I still have pictures of my dog, okay, in Hamburg, okay. But, you know, are you kidding? I mean, all these different things that that soup? Let me take you somewhere. You know, the chefs which are mumchim in soup, you understand? You know, I always hold the sheet. You don't have to but if you're going to do it right. This is my sheet in life. You're going to do it right. Don't these Israeli steaks. That steak, you put that in your shoes, okay? You walk on those things. But this take you a good place in Jerusalem. At least it looks like a steak, okay? It actually tastes not bad, okay? Anyway, but I'm trying to say that's the idea behind this. They don't want enlightenment. They don't want knowledge. My father always said in the same my Zayda was a big Meirur in Grodno. He says, "Those to wissen sein," he tells me, "Sheker Tormen nicht sagen." You're never allowed to lie. Aber der Emes will keiner nicht hören. But the truth, no one wants to hear. Why does anyone want to hear the truth? The truth is embarrassing. The truth it destroys your comfort zone. The truth, though. Don't lie. But tell yourself a favor, the people don't want to hear the truth. A guy tells me, "What do you say about this for?" I said, "You really want to know?" No, forget it. You know what I mean? You're supposed to say it's brilliant, it's nice. Oh, mod fair. I know how to lie. No, it's light, it's beautiful, it's nice. It's got nothing to do with the truth, but it's very nice. It's Hashena Sheker. You know, should I tell him the truth? What for? Let him live. He's not my student. I don't have to change his mind. So to my student, I'll say it's a very nice lie. Okay, but you get that. But otherwise, no, very nice. I remember I had a Meister Shahoya. I remember the first time I went to America. I'll tell you a story. So Rav Galtuch, you know, he within 2 weeks, he like notified me I'm going to America. Mom didn't want to go. So he says, "You don't understand. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you." And that's what it was. So he said, "But you have to do yourself a favor. They're going to talk. Everyone's going to come talk to you and learning. Now do yourself one favor. Don't do what you always do." What do I always do? When I tell you over my shir, and it took me an hour to say it, you tell me, "Oh, so what you said is," and you summarize it in like roughly 45 seconds. Says, "Yeah." Says, No. You know what you're telling me? What? You're telling me that I wasted an hour and a half of other people's lives because I could have said it in 45 seconds. Says, "Yeah." You know, that's really what you're saying. The rest is all the cute, you know, the run, what you want to say is this. Get to the point. He says, "Don't do that in America," he says. No one wants to hear that. Says, "Okay, I just meant that. I didn't really think those terms. I just want to say, so now I understand what you're saying." So in order to tell a person, "I appreciate what you're saying, I understand, I know how to do these, I think that way," okay? But he said, "No, but you're telling me that I wasted, now, it's only 45 seconds and 2 minutes." I don't understand. You know, the Sibir says that if there's one svara in the whole book and it's good, it saves the whole book. Yeah, look, if you have a hour here and there's mamash 2 minutes which are good, Halu Abdei Hashem, what are you talking about? It's a tremendous thing. Baruch Hashem that you have to do 2 minutes there. Some people don't have 20 seconds. So, but anyway, that's what he was telling me. He says, "Don't tell people the truth." Big Yisod. So this is what they're doing here. They don't want to hear the truth. Too much religion is overwhelming. So what do? What do they do? And all they wanted to do is to give some kind of a foundation and a stability to the existence of the world or the level of consciousness. It should never be annulled. They like the world they're in. So what did they do? Because of that, Karush Moshe Kadosh Baruch Hu Avodah Zarah. And third what? Ki kol yisham v'kol chifsam haya ach liot arak mikamim mora. All they wanted is to be able to run away from standing and confronting God. The confrontation with God, meeting God directly, God living in your consciousness, is destroying their sense of comfort. The way to get God out of my skin is to stop living with Him, thinking about Him. They would have loved to be in where we are today. You understand? And we are today is pretty bad. Okay? That's what they wanted. They wanted to be Arik Mikam Mishmaya. They actually had Shavis Hashem the Negdi Summit as a fact. You guys, thank God, Baruch Hashem only have the Sifri Shulchan Aruch, but you fulfilled maybe B'Shas Krishma on Yom Kippur. You know, they had to live with that. So you know, they want to run away from that sense of awareness. It's very Li Arik Mikam Mishmaya. You want to run away from standing in front of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Sheyustar Or Hashem B'Olam Hazeh. That the enlightenment of God, the awareness of God, should be hidden in this world. It's only through that, by having less oyer, which means the less enlightenment and awareness of God, because you've run away from equals, metaphorically means you've kicked them to your subconscious at the best, or maybe even out of your subconscious into a world of faith and nothing more. They figured out that way the world, the level of consciousness they have, will always stay the way it is. Now, it's pretty theologically sound. Because God, as I pointed out already in a previous class, does not come where he's not invited. Remember we discussed that Ashgacha Pratis is very much dependent on how much you're davek b'HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how much you live consciously with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I quoted the Rambam and the Ramban in Iyov Parshal Perik Lamed Zayin. God intervenes to the extent that you care about and think about him and live with him. To the extent that you live less with him, you're a person which is nitan lemikre. He won't protect you for the normal courses of events. We mentioned that in Mitzvah when we learn Ashgacha Pratis Be'yu, and I'll do it more, but that's what it is. They were quite sound. We will run away from thinking about him, and slowly but surely we won't think about him, and he won't exist. If we don't think about him, he won't be involved with us. And he'll stop. People don't want to teach if there's not people there that want to hear. God will not reveal himself to people which are wholly not interested in hearing him. It's very simple. I mean, you see how much you have to kvetch and pray to Kodesh Baruch Hu for shtickle harin and b'sarasecha. You think you get it automatically. You can kvetch, which say 100 times. If you don't break your back on the taisus for a few hours, it's not going to happen. It doesn't happen. I mean, I can tell you right now that this is an emes. That less than, when you get to 4 hours ritzufais, you're beginning to touch something. 6 hours ritzufais, that's learning. That's okay. Now you're doing the right thing. You understand? 6 hours is 4 is oichad git. You're young. 4 ritzufais. You know what I mean? Focusing and this no hefsek. You know what that is? You don't have to. Okay, what did we say yesterday? And all the whole no. B'neshima achas. After a certain point in time, you suddenly don't experience anything except for the page in front of you. You don't see anything anymore. It's like people who, you know, I once was on a fruit juice diet, fruit and vegetable juice diet, the unbelievable diet. Okay, so the first 2 days your stomach grinds. After a while, you don't want to go near food or anything. It had to force me to start eating again after 2 weeks. You're highly energized. Woo-hoo. You know, you're almost hyper, and you're okay, and you're getting all your minerals and vitamins, you know, between the fruit and the vegetables. Would you ever have celery and apple, or, you know what I mean, and a little squash, all these good, you know, fruit. I had a good juicer, and it was really, really cool. I still remember this guy, Italian guy, turned me on to this Pellegrino, it was his name. So, so who wants to eat? You're crazy. You eat, you're like tired, blah, you know, like Shabbos, you know, when you eat shont, that's you have me'ein misa in order to get me'ein olam haba by Tches HaMeisim when you wake up from mincha. You know, I think that's why Jews eat the chont, to feel like they're going to die, and then they wake up after it's a shtickle me'ein Tches HaMeisim. That must be the reason why you eat this poor man's stew full of carbs, which are literally nothing left in it except for starch. You know, after it's been on the fire for 12 hours, there is no nutritional value in that whatsoever. This I can sign on. You're eating pure starch. I mean, this, you have to chop what this is. This is. You gotta be crazy to do this, but we all do it. Oh yeah, you got it. Kishka. What's kishka? It's a bunch of oil and flour. That's it. Oil, flour, and onions, and some food coloring. And God, why would you want to eat that? Like any normal person doesn't eat anything like that. especially when it's saturated in oil and they give it to you at a kiddush together with herring. Blah. You understand? This is all Tchias HaMesim. That's all this really is. So you have to chop that this is what's happening here. People actually did not want to learn the truth. They wouldn't do anything. So that's why they called it Avodah Zarah. Avodah Zarah is not a lie. I don't want to think about the boss, remember, on the top. I want to deal with the guy in the middle. He's not overwhelming. I don't want to deal with the guy on top. Slowly but surely, people stopped remembering there was a guy on the top. How Rambam formulates this in Perek Aleph Yisod Avodah Zarah. Originally, they ran away from. I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to the guy in the middle. After generations, people forgot there was a guy. They really succeeded in not thinking about him. That it became lost from the collective experience, and they actually only thought the only thing there is the guy we're talking to. Which you see, like the 8th floor, and God's on the 120th, so to speak. They lost it. And that was the idea. But this was a mistake. You know why it was a mistake? God does not want it. God created the world in order that there should be a revelation of Shem Havaya. Pasuk says in Yeshayahu, Kol hanikra b'shmi lichvoidi barasiv yatzarti v'afasisiv. Everything in this world is calling out my name. Everything was created, formed, and made in order to call out my name. So I'm sorry, you know, it's very nice of you. I don't intervene, but I do intervene when history will not end in the place I want it to be. That's what God does. He gives us a lot of leeway, a lot of space, okay? Oh yeah, but every so often he kicks history back in place and it can be very, very painful. So this is what it says. This is another part. It's come barbat minal sheino mino. This hasn't been the Shraba. It says that the Dor Enosh, they were into Kalayim. They were Marbia Mino Sheino Mino. Why? Now think carefully to yourself. Don't you understand? Don't you understand that if you live with an acute awareness of when you see natural science, you see its creator, and seeing the creator is an overwhelming experience. You try to make man-made phenomena, not to see the creator immediately. All of a sudden, you have polyester suits, and I don't know, and all these other things. I still remember in the 70s, they had these things in America. It's like unbelievable polyester shirts and polyester knits. They had these things here, and it's like putting plastic on a leather sofa. It's like sacrilege. It's very Brooklynese. Or putting plastic, sitting on plastic. Do you ever go to these houses that you sit on plastic? Like, then they put a towel on it because you perspire. Okay, like, what are you doing, man? Like, sitting on plastic. Same thing here. You don't want to experience the natural phenomena. We don't want to experience because the yenta there doesn't want to pay for the cleaners or to change her furniture every 5-6 years. What can you do? Because they made it once, and Ad Khan did not do it again. But here it's different. Here the pshat is because you see natural reality. You see Shem Shemayim. They mamash are in the darga of Tchelis Demer L'Rekia, Yam Demer L'Rekia, Rekia L'Kisri HaKavod. They mamish saw Shem Ma'aser Shemayim when they saw Yitzir Soilimus. They wanted to not see it. They created artificial realities. That's where they were Marbia Kalayim. So he says, what is this? They wanted didn't want to see in an enlightened way the shirish of things where they're coming from. There's going to be a detour. It's all different ways of walking away from God awareness. You realize how holy they were? That even looking at a cow reminded them of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, and the chiyus of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. I don't want to. A horse. I'm going to make a mule. I'm going to make a parrot, which is our above, a horse and a donkey. Oh, this is ready. Yad Adam boy. This is not the natural phenomena. It's easier for you see how that is. It's unbelievable how natural reality was religious experience for them. That's what I described Rambam and Avodah Zarah that said that as soon as they saw the sun, the moon, and the stars above them, that meant that God is telling us they're more important than them. I promise you saw the sun and the moon multitudes of times. You never thought, oh, that means they're important. God is telling me a message. They're more important than me. And that's what they saw. That's how Rambam describes it in Perek Al. You see what they saw when they saw science. I mean, you say, Mo Rabu Ma'asecha Hashem. Yeah, very nice, it's true. They mamish saw Kodesh Baruch Hu were there. So that's what it says. That's where they're Ma'ariv Kalayim. Uked Isa was there Kodesh K'tayshim, but Tam Isra Boaz Kalayim. What was the time of Isra Boaz Kalayim? Because we want the natural world to be a Kli, to actually to look and see the Creator in the Mitzvahs. That's why we want it that way. But the truth of the matter is, what they did only caused the opposite. Because of this hiding of the God enlightenment, because what they wanted was the Arkim becoming more running away from God awareness. And not to call out the name of Yud Kei Vav Kei to God the way it is. Because of that, then they actually did the opposite. Because of that, God flooded them. If you're not aware of God, so I'm not going to intervene in science, and you're going to be flooded. You don't want to see God in science? God will let science work without it, and then you flood. As they point out the Perek in Yirmiyah. You have to be in awe of God. He keeps the kites, chayv, kotzir, oviv, the psukim at the end of Noach. It's all God keeping a very nice order. You know, it can change. I don't know, you know, there used to be, many years ago, there was a very famous Hitchcock movie that probably came out in the Late Show already when I was a kid. So you understand, it's from, I don't know, from Yenta here. It was called The Birds. Okay, I'll tell you, what's the vort there? The vort is beautiful. The vort is, you're always used to, for example, you live in Yerushalayim, you know, there's a lot of cats. Or you live in London, the squirrels. What's there in New York? Droppings of dogs, pigeons. Okay. So can you imagine? Let's take. I always think about, you know, you throw out to the dumpster, and you put your waste in the dumpster, and there's cats there. So sometimes they're annoying. You go psst, and they go away. I always think, will you imagine there's like 6 of them there, and I'm saying psst, and they say psst to me. What would happen? I'd run home. Can you imagine if the cats would decide would join a union and say, we're not going to take this anymore? Okay, so can you imagine if those things would happen? If all of a sudden the meek little pigeons, you know, there's ravens all over this, or Vim, there's a lot of them in my neighborhood. You know, ravens, man, they can really, they can be very, very dangerous. Can you imagine all of a sudden they decide to get after you? Okay, so this story, this Hitchcockian nightmare is a story of the birds deciding to fight man. Okay, we're not just flying around anymore. We're coming into your house. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I always think of Tzfardeya in Mitzrayim, like Hitchcock's nightmare. That's what it was. All of a sudden, they're here. You know, everything. If that's what's happening, everything fall apart. You don't know what's happening next. So you have to chop that's Mida Keneged Mida. You have to understand what's happening here. You wanted me out of here? Okay, let's see what science does without me. The birds come to your house, man. It's straight, okay? You have to chop what this is. What keeps the birds up and you down is Ratzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You don't want God involved in your life? Okay. The birds will come visit you, and the cats will snarl. I don't know what they'll do, and their cousins, the lion, will come visit you too. Whatever it be, that's what he says. He says, by you throwing Eviv Atzon Kilot, Otzo Bida Keneged Mida. It says, the Lashon, Atem Asisem, Atzvechem, Oivdei Kechavim Mazolos, Ukorosem L'Shimchem, Af Ani Ekra, L'mei Hayam L'Shmi, V'Achaleh Otchem. Tichsiv, Akorei, L'mei Hayam V'Shpechem, Apnei Haaretz, Hashem Shmo. You don't want to think of me? I'm going to let things flow. So this was Darshal Enosh. So now we understand Darshal Enosh as an attempt to try to dilute God awareness, not to have a truth of religion, because truth of religion will destroy our comfortable world, and they were suffering from a strong awareness of religion. They wanted to go away from it, and they tried to do so many different things. Okay, so what's Dar Mabul? Now that, you know, as I said before, the world is based on trauma. I don't know if you know, if one day, if you read about or experienced archaeological diggings in the Tel, so if in this country there's a lot of them, so I don't know, sometimes there was groups that used to do some of the diggings near the Kotel Adromi, in the Western Wall, the guys used to go. So if you read about it, most cities here were built, civilization, destruction, and on top of that, they'd build another civilization, and then, that ultimately was destroyed, and on top, no one moved away the rubble. So when you cut in vertical into one of these hills, you can go through centuries, you see levels, you can see, oh, this was X year, century, it's beautiful to see this. So here you have literally the same thing, okay? So metaphorically, on top of the rubble of Dorish Enosh, now comes the Hamabel, okay? And they had the same agenda. And they also told God, walk away from us. This is already quoting the Medrash. What time is it? 11. Oh, we're going to stop soon. We do not want to know your ways. What is this God of restriction? Shaddai means Shomar Lo Dai. Okay? What is this God of restriction that we should serve him? What will he help by praying to him? Like, what do we need him for? Let him go away. Hainu, what does this mean? Dor Mabul already became aware and knew, after the trauma of the first flood of Dorish Enosh, they knew the trauma. They already on top, the second layer of society. First layer had a 30% flood of humanity. Can you imagine a third of whatever was people lived died? That's enormous, okay? Think of a third of the world, okay? Today, okay? I don't know, the numbers were there much smaller than, but think of a third of the world. So there you have, there's no way we're going to stop God from intervening. There's no way we're not going to be accountable for this. They're aware of it. It's very beautiful. It's religiously aware. They try, but you're right. So we know it's going to happen. אין חוכמה ועצה נגד יכולות השם להלוך בהכרח ובעיקשות לחזק ולקיים יסוד הבריאה לידי עד כדי הדור אנוש. There's no way we can create a stability to our comfort zone awareness. God's going to intervene. He made this world for an agenda, and if we will not exist and try to bring the world to its agenda, he's going to do something. He's not going to let it happen. They knew that. They're very much aware of it. Like, we're also very much aware of long-term damage of things, of our lifestyle. But we figure, that'll happen later in life. In the meantime, let's party. Right or wrong? I mean, this is the name of the game. Okay, yeah, it'll happen one day. In the meantime, let's party. They said the same thing. He says, I know we're going to pay. The world will pay. Well, we got 500 years of partying, man. So, what the oomph? And that's what it says. שכל ישעם וחפצם היה לדאוג על חיזוק יסוד הוויית העולם לעולמים כדי שלא יתבטל בהכרח ובעיקשות נגד רצונו יתברך. That's what Dorish Enosh wanted, as we described before. We're going to force God to let us live in our comfort zone. We won't think about him. You don't think about us. Let us alone. Well, that didn't work because God told him, I made this world for a purpose. I intervene. שזאת כבר הבינו דור המבול שהכל ביד השם יתברך. They realized, no, we can't ask God to walk away. Ulam ba'u mitzad acher, but they came from another angle. V'amru, and they said, Achar asher nitan koach ba'teva liot olam k'minago noheg. God does give us free will. He doesn't intervene every time I say lashon hara. I don't get herpes. Every time I look at a mara osra, I don't get a glaucoma. Okay, it's not as if like all of a sudden you get an immediate reaction. It's not true. Erech Not just because he's nice, because that's the Anhagas Ha'olamus. If not, there wouldn't be Bechira. It's very simple. So God has patience. God gives a lot of leeway to make a million mistakes before he kicks us in. You know that. It doesn't happen. Like there are 400 years of Bayis Rishon until finally he was destroyed. And that was pretty nasty if you read what it was like during Malchi Yisrael and Malchi Beis David over there. Oh, come on. Of a Zorah murdering of Nevi'im Kesed. It was bad news. And the Shemra of Malchi Beis Yisrael. Look, terrible people. A bunch of murderers of a Zorah. How many of them are even religious? No one, actually. They're all but terrible. Yechidim. Malchi Yehuda, what are you talking about? Menashe? Not a nice guy, okay, to say the least. But God has patience. It took all the way to Tzidkiyahu before he destroyed that. Second temple, oh, are you kidding? It was a terrible situation with Tzedukim and Baitusim, etc. Yeah, okay, we gave them 400 plus years. We gave them time. God has patience. Why? Because that's the name of the game. The name of the game is called Bechira, so he does not intervene immediately. So they knew that the world goes on its own, which means God lets nature take its course and does not intervene. At that point in time, or that extended time, which God basically lets the world take its course on the laws of nature and does not intervene. He has patience. Because God doesn't intervene, naturally we have the capability of extending ourselves and expressing ourselves in whatever fashion, size, and form we want. We're free because he doesn't intervene in every second. Yes, because man does have free will, at least he perceives that. Now, it's a very profound statement said here. In truth, you live a sense of free will. Is it really free will? That's another story. I'm not going to talk about that now. Okay, but he has a beautiful sentence which is underlined for your own selves. Look at the word le'ein ha'adam and underline that. That's a very important statement. It means at least subjectively you experience free will. You know, they figure, we're going to pay a price at the end, or the world will die at the end, but we have 500 years, let's party. They don't care if the world will go apart. They don't mind. They want to live a certain lifestyle. They want to live a certain world. They want to experience a certain experience of existence. And if I can't live that way, I don't need to live this. I want to live this way, but if you live this way, you're partying now, you'll pay later. Okay, so I'll pay later. Does that stop anybody? No. You read Kohelet once a year, you get a little morbid, and then you go weiter partying and sing Beis HaShe'eva v'chulu v'ein tzorach lefaret. Af shayu yodim bebirur, it's a very important statement, sheka'asher yagbiya HaKadosh Baruch Hu midotov l'mal l'rosh, when God, okay, enough. He takes his midos, now he brings it back to, okay, enough, I've had enough. They came to the top, so to speak. Yidbatlu be'echreach, all this will become annulled. That's what happened, he flooded them. They were willing to live a temporary reality. It reminded me of contemporary society, with all the different vices which are definitely detrimental for health, wealth, and pursuit of happiness. People are dying in stairwells, snorting cocaine. I don't know what they're doing. Every mudna, meshuggah, and taiva in the world, which is ending up, obviously, there's not too much arichas yom and good health out of this, the lifestyle that people are living. Yeah. Well, okay, so you got to go. In the meantime, have a party. That's what it boils down to be, okay? They didn't mind it being over at the end. They didn't want restriction. That's the ma shakai tina avdenu. They didn't want restriction. Hamoreh al tzimtzum v'tkalut midot. Okay. They didn't want a perpetual existence. They didn't want to bring the world to netzach. Forget it. So the world will last for X amount of years and we'll live our lives. They were very self-centered. They didn't want to live a life of God's agenda. They wanted their own agenda. That's why they didn't want to think about God, because that would coerce them to think of his agenda. They didn't want to live with his awareness. They wanted to have their own party. With the knowledge of this, they knew. They were religious people. They knew. It wasn't like us. We don't even think about that. They know that this is going to end. Just as anybody which is half-wit knows, if you smoke heavily, you must know that the odds of you living a long life has been diminished by a big number. You know, that we know, and yet people still smoke. Okay, it's the truth. They put big Kiddush Levana Oisius, oh, this, you're going to die, on the package over there, what it says over there. But yeah. Okay. And Halavai, they should only smoke cigarettes. The other stuff that they take, what are we talking about? How many people are dying all over the place? It's crazy, okay, if you think about it. I mean, one of the biggest killers in America is obesity. Means all your chocolate sundaes and your great, cream pies and all that, they're killing people. It's the biggest killer in America today. It's frightening to think of it, obesity. It's very frightening. No, what's this? I'm going to party now and we'll pay at the end. It's the same thing, so this is not new to me. What does that mean? Now, it's very modern. We have a major theological issue. We have the issue of the Taivas mentioned there in the end of Beraishis, and yet the Gemara says, the Medrash says, that it's a Gemara and a Medrash, right? Gemara Sanhedrin, the Medrash in Bahar, that it was Gezel. So Meleah Vonot, Mimikadreg Berosh, Gezel. Shene'amar ube'etzem bitzam berosh kulam. Why? The idea behind this is they lived a life without limits. No restrictions. Totally self-centered. Everything there is for me. They only thought about today with no tomorrow. They were pure Balei Taiva. The Balei Taiva thinks about today that has no yesterday, has no tomorrow. Mitzrayim was a Ummah of Balei Taiva. Zirma susim zirmasam, the Navi says. Their seed is like the seed of horses. They have no sense of father, son, and generations. The child is the is the price you pay for a few moments of pleasure. Ein bayis she'ein bo meis, yeah, because there are quite a few b'chorim in every household. Kineshusayim bezano, it's Rashi, all this is in Chumash. The type of people that live short, they live only with it today with no yesterday and no tomorrow. That's a society which drowns one-day-old babies. Because babies are thinking, you should have aborted. For us, a child is the movement from yesterday through today to the tomorrow. I remember when I had my firstborn, it was like 5 years after the wedding, so some obnoxious neighbor of mine, very sweet man, but he was obnoxious, asked me, what do you feel now? Come on, it took 5 years for the child to be born. What do you feel now? I really thought he was intruding into my private life, and I don't like it. But obviously, I didn't tell him you're obnoxious. So I looked at him and says, do you want to know the truth? So he says, I don't think you understand, but I'm going to tell you. I says, until this child was born, I was Sir Laurence Olivier doing Hamlet on the stage. You wouldn't even know what that is. He's a great English actor. He was at the Barbican, and he did Hamlet. You must have heard of that, okay? This little thing here was born. They kicked me off the stage, and now I'm the producer, hopefully the director, and maybe I'll even get to write the script. I mean, I moved from being centerpiece into now the reason for the future. That's having a child in Yiddishkeit. In Judaism, you're creating the next generation. The lashon of the Mishnah in Eidos is Ha'av Moirish Lebanav Es Hadoros Shel Lefanav. You bequeath your children the whole pack of generations that you carried on your back. You're giving it to them. That's a very important thing. Af Hadoros Shel Lefanav. Unbelievable. Av Moirish Lebanav, Amar Bekiva, Af Hadoros Shel Lefanav. That's having kids, okay? That's living with the past, the present, bringing it all into the future. You take the dervish shalafanov and you're giving it to your child. It's unbelievable. So children are like the most important thing. Okay? But in a world which lives only with it today, with no yesterday and no tomorrow, now. It's kulei taiva. What's a child? Oops. You're pregnant? Don't exactly say mazel tov. What will abortion cost? You know what I mean? That's a society which zir masusim, zir masam. You're like horses. There's no sense of genealogy. It's just biological realities. And that's why there's no yichus. Come on, yivamis. You have no yichus. They don't live a world of zikaron. They don't live a world of continuity, of moving the past into the future vis-a-vis the present. We're a nation of almost obsessed with memory. We are. And that same thing. You know, there used to be a statue, a monument for the 6 million opposite Tachana Mרכזית in Yerushalayim. Now, they moved it to near the Supreme Court. And on top, there was written one word, and the word is nizkor, we will remember. Bismano, it was a big machlokes between the Prime Minister, David Ben-Gurion, and the Saratot Rav Maimon. What should be written there? Rav Maimon was the head of the Mizrahi. One of the signs of Megillat Ha'atzmaut said, you should write Yizkor, God should remember. Ben-Gurion was not exactly a believer in God, so he felt you should write Nizkor, we should remember. When I came to Eretz, I saw it was Nizkor. I didn't know about the machlokes, but was very happy when I saw Nizkor. I just objectively, I came and remember saying, wow, that's so cool. Why? Why is it cool? I wasn't even aware of the whole shtickle Torah behind it, because God always remembers. Halavai Jews should remember. You know what I mean? I think that's our job, is to remember, to live in memory, to be people of the moving the past into the future vis-a-vis the present. Lashon of the Bryce and Derech Eretz Zuta is a Talmud Chacham, is a koinais and a zachron. He accumulates experiences and carries them into the next stage, from the past into the present. What zikaron is living the past after it's not there anymore. It's reliving, bringing the past into the present, ultimately going for it. It's a linear experience. That's what zikaron is. We are people of a linear experience. We don't live dot, 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 dot. We have a connection between them. That's what we do. We're obsessed with memory. Actually, what is the prayer that all Jews go to? Yizkor. Same thing. You know, it's unbelievable how we're memory oriented. All your mitzvahs, L'man Tizkor, L'man Tizkor, L'man Tizkor, Tefillin is for Zikaron, it's even called Vayu Zikaron Beinei Necha. Pasuk and Bay. It's supposed to be memory. You put it on the black badge, it's supposed to be memorying the Exodus, and through that remembering whatever the Exodus was meaningful to you. Memory. So this is what it says. You must understand, people who live in Gazo, and people who live in Taiva, have no restrictions. There's no line. Everything is today, now, and me. There's no gvulos. They want to live it today with no tomorrow, with no yesterday. They don't care about what's going to happen tomorrow. The world may fall apart. We don't live like that. They didn't care about anything. They only cared about themselves. The whole generation was self-centered. We don't care. We don't want to know about tomorrow. We're going to talk about today, and today we want to party. So nothing is long-term. Everything is me and now. So then, I like your car. I'm going to take it. That's what it means. What is gezel? Gezel is the idea is, how can you take someone else's money? Because the musik shali v'shecho doesn't exist very well. It's shali, shali, shecho, shali. How does a gazlan take? Because he has no problem. Yours, mine, I want it. That's what a gazlan is. A gazlan doesn't live with the restrictions of bailas. The bailas doesn't mean anything. You're simply the person holding something that I want. I'm taking it. So he said this is indicative of their total Weltbeschauung. That's how they saw things. They didn't care about the future. They care about today, and that reflects itself also in their taivas and everything. A person which lives with no tomorrow and has no future, has no past, there's no limit. There's no limit. And that's the world of taiva, that's the world of Getzel, that's Dor Hamabel. Okay, it's late, then let's go for today.